Hello, it's day 17, the Liberator project, and a bit of a different format today. I'm actually using a tripod and I'm sat in the camper because it's raining. It's been raining really hard, on and off quite a bit of the day, so the cockpit's not finished. That's a bit of a spoiler, but that's the way it is. Before we get started, I'd like to wish the channel's best wishes to Ash. I had to take him down to A&E this afternoon. He wasn't feeling very well. And I hope that he gets a speedy recovery very soon. So our best wishes out to him. I'd also like to say a thank you for Sylvia for bringing tea, which is fantastic. I really appreciate that. And also, I have someone has sponsored me on Liberapay. So I'm being paid to make videos now. Okay, about the cost of a cup of coffee, but that's more money than I've earned for the last 6 months, so fantastic. That's really appreciated. As I said, it's been raining, so it has limited what I've done. I've done a fair bit, and I will show you around the cabin in a minute, but first of all I thought I'd show you a few other things I've been up to. I've got the driver's seat back in, and that's covered. Now, the vinyl was split where people have been sitting, so I did some leather working on it to actually repair the seat. Now, I wanted to show you that, but I also wanted to get the seat cover on. I wanted to move on rather than, you know, have it all in bits, just so I could show you some sewing, which wasn't very neat because I haven't been doing leather work for very long. In fact, I only started doing leather working this year because I needed to repair my scabbard for one of my swords, so I needed a bit of leather working. I watched a few videos online, thought, how hard can it be? I went to a sort of one of the Chinese websites and bought lots of leather working tools and gave it a go, and actually it is actually a lot easier than you think. So I just thought I'd show you a few basic things you need. Right, I've got some leather, so I thought I'd do a demonstration of it here for you. With leather, it's quite tough. So what you need to do is you need to make tiny little perforations along the edge. Now, you can use a tool like this, and you put that on some soft wood and hammer it in, and it gives you a nice even space stitches. However, you know, that's for thicker leather. For softer leather, you can use this, which you run along the edge, and again it either makes holes if it's soft enough, or it makes marks where you can actually get the stitching, because the thing is to make the stitching look as even as possible because it shows. Or some people say this is all you need. that's for Neil. This is called an awl, AWL, though I'm dyslexic, so you know might not be spelt like that. And all you do is, again, you regular intervals, you punch holes through, so both sides of the leather you want to sew together have got the same equally spaced holes, and that's important because it makes it very neat. To sew them together, you need some sort of thread or twine. This is pre-waxed, which is much easier to work with. But if you don't get the pre-waxed stuff, what you need is, I know I'm not that prepared, block of beeswax, and all you do is hold the thread on it, pull it through, and it just waxes it. That makes it a lot easier to get through the holes, and you know, it really does seem to make a difference. This is pre-waxed thread that you know, I was just lucky enough to see this going cheap, so I bought this. I've got black and cream and, you know, the usual colours. To do the to prepare the needles, you need 2 leather needles, which are quite thick. They're quite blunt as well. I mean, you could draw blood if you really went for it. And in fact, I was doing the seat and with the vinyl, and it was so tough at one point. I was using some pliers to help get the needle through the seat, and then suddenly it came through and it jabbed me right in the thigh, and once again I screamed like a little kitten. But they are pretty blunt. It's only if you do something stupid that you get hurt. You put the thread through the needle. I've done this because that's the bit that takes the time for me. And with this end, then you fold it back. How can I show you this? You fold it back on itself and you put the needle through the thread. So just try and, this usually takes just a few minutes, like this. So it's through the thread. Then when you pull it, it forms a knot. So you end up with a thread with 2 knots on the end and 2 needles. Now, if you're sewing, you want to make this as long as possible. I mean, you can manage a meter's easily, 1.5 meters pushing it. If it's 2 meters long, I think it's, you know, that's very difficult to manage that length of thread. With the leather, the first stitch goes down through the leather. I do it on both sides. I'll just try. So talk among yourselves. So I'll just get this in. Right. Yes, it would be nice if I could edit this, but I'm showing you it live. Oh, I'll have to go through that hole, right? So that goes through the top hole, and then basically you do well, the next thing you do is to pull the thread to make sure both needles have got the same length of thread space, because you need it to be symmetrical. And then basically you come up through the holes, you do alternate sides and alternate needles like this, and then every time you do a stitch, you pull it a little bit tighter. And I'm doing this very rushed just to do it. I'm doing a few stitches. Have I gone wrong somewhere? I don't know. But anyway, so you go up, alternate sides, alternate needles coming up through the edge, and then you pull it tight, and you can see that's well, I'm still an amateur at this. Bear in mind, it could be neater. Oh, I didn't tighten it. Well, you can see what's happening is it's stitching it up. So obviously it's a lot easier when the material's tight and you can pull it tight. I mean, with leather you can put quite a bit of effort on that. This is very strong. I don't think you'll break the thread easily. And on vinyl, what happens is you just tear the stitches out, but on leather that's fine and you can tighten those up. So I'll show you, just tighten them up as you go. And as you go down the whole seam, it makes quite an attractive join, and it's very strong. So I was doing that on the vinyl, a little bit more careful. And the other thing is, you know, I have to leave it a sort of centimetre to make sure there's enough material to stop it tearing. And there you go. I'm sure as you follow the project even, you will see me make things, and once I've got video editing and better production, you know, then you'll see me make things in much more detail. But I thought I'd explain, you know, what I did to the seat to repair it, and I think it's come up. Just get rid of the tools. I think the seats come up very nicely. The you know, once the vinyl was sewn up and it was put back together, the shape of the chair was very nice. And then this is just a cover which still needs a little bit of sewing to tighten it up, but that's going to look great. And both seats at least got the same cover on, even though they're radically different sizes, and that's quite nice. I did a little bit of painting and touching things up, and that's good. Say with the rain I didn't get as much done as I would, but you know, there's tomorrow. I've got other things done. I did some investigation. Let's flip you around. I did some investigation of the switches and tried to find out what they do, and checking everything works. I also have the wire. I got the heater and the air ducts fitted in. I couldn't tighten them though, because as you see, I didn't have a small enough screwdriver to get down into that gap to tighten the screws. But I mean, that's, if I've got the right tool, you know, we're talking 15-20 minutes work to get that finished. And you know, that's, I know I want to get the cockpit done. but there has been progress despite the rain, and another few hours and I think it'll be together. Oh, I've got the sunscreens in as well. They look very nice. You see, they look absolutely fine now, and yeah, I'm very pleased with that. I've still got to fit the rear view mirror, and I've still got to debug some wiring and sort things out, but generally fair bit of progress. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing my progress today, but also a little bit of sewing. And you know, as the time goes on, you will see me build things, and you know, you'll see sewing, you'll see engineering, you'll see electronics and software, and you'll see things that are interesting. So that's that's today's progress. Mark's been absolutely brilliant. I mean, he lent me a power drill and helped me drill out some of these bolts, and it's so nice having a real mechanic and engineer working with you, even for like 15 minutes. It just really helps to have another pair of hands and someone's idea of things you're doing. Like for example, when I was drilling out the screws that were badly rusted, you know, he suggested putting some WD-40 on them to make it easier, and that actually was a lot better for the drilling. So that was a top tip, and I'm very glad he gave me a hand and gave me a drill. Right, I think that sums up today. It's quite a long video, but I'm sat in the van in the rain, and I've waffled on long enough. I hope you've enjoyed it and found it interesting, and I'll see you tomorrow for more progress. Bye.